Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us today for episode 9 of our ongoing HawkNest webinar series here. Today, we're going to be talking about some additional AI functionality, how we can help really drive some smarter results via automation, machine learning, and AI. Really looking forward to this conversation today. Closing out our little trilogy of AI-focused topics here, I am joined, as always, by my partner in crime here, Mr. Gavin Kearns. Gavin, how you doing?
Everybody, it's great to be chatting with you again. Yeah, looking forward to today. So we're going to be jumping into an area that's been in Hawk Search for a while, our AI multipliers, but we have now newly improved these. So this is really exciting. This has been part of Hawk for a long time, but to kind of relate to our AI improvements and the way that we're kind of managing all of that new enhancement stuff from the Hawk Search feature side, why not look at a staple feature and improve it? So I'm looking forward to talking about it.
Yeah, this is going to be a good one here because, as you mentioned, AI multipliers have been a part of the tool for as long as I've been doing this, and I've been doing this for 10 years, as I always like to mention. They've been around, and we've always expanded on it. We've added new methods, but we've really updated the way that we're looking at tracking for this. We're also improving the way that we can visualize this information. There's a lot of different things that are going on here, and so what we can do is we can really just kind of dive into some of this and tackle some of the functionality cover over what these will actually be dealing with. So let me actually go ahead and share my screen here, and we can dive into this around what is the next part of this conversation here, which is really going to be the actual functionality of the tool here. So when we're thinking about the machine learning and the AI multipliers within HawkSearch, again, just baked into the tools. We mentioned this is something that's been a part of the tool for a very long time. So what I want to cover here, if we go into our Hawk AI section, kind of the beating heart of the whole functionality we've been covering over these last few webinars here, we have our dedicated AI multiplier section here, which is going to really cover the major methods that we offer of improving your search automatically. And this has several benefits. The main thing here is, again, this is all automation. This is the way that we help your business get to smarter, better results without your team having to really lift a finger. Because we're tracking a lot of these signals. And this gets into what Gavin was mentioning when we were thinking about kind of some of the additional improvements that we've done. We've revamped that tracking system in the Hawk Search backend so that we can capture a lot more signals. We're able to see kind of more insight into what's going on and use those from kind of different sources, get into, are we doing order imports? Are we doing, lots of different ways that we can get this information into the system to help drive that automation. So, we always talk about kind of all of the great merchandising functionality within HawkSearch, the ability to boost and vary and visibility rules and entitlements and segmentation and all of that. This is the other end of that coin. This is I just want to, kind of set it and forget it.
Yeah, I was just going to say, before we dive into it, I think this is a very, we used to talk about this a lot in this way, that kind of set it and forget it, which is fantastic, especially if you've got a small team. Maybe there's just one or two on the eCommerce team altogether. You've got your marketing and merchandising going on. And this really allows you to kind of create the promotions that you're looking for through the multipliers and allowing the machine learning to naturally, promote and move things around based on the tracking and the kind of the key points that we're looking for upon interaction. So that's kind of, that was always the way we talked about this. And, now with this new tracking capability, like the kind of revamped and newer version of this, now we can actually take not only this from a set it and forget it component, but we can start applying this into some personalization now. We can have different boosts and recommended items under a certain login. So it's just allowed us to kind of take the overall site approach to machine learning and the AI multipliers, and then being able to expand that even further, and then obviously report on it and track it. And yes, this is a really fun. It's an oldie, but it's a great one. I love it. Yeah.
So let's dive into what we're talking here when we're looking at these 4 boxes under our AI multipliers. So I'll break this down kind of in terms of the customer journey, because this is really the way that it works here. The first step is our learning search multiplier. Then we're looking at kind of the next step on that customer journey of an add to cart multiplier. And then, of course, the kind of gold standard of all of this is it leading to orders. So your first thought might be, well, what is the learning search multiplier? If that's the first part of the customer journey, what are we talking about there? This is really looking at the click-through interactions. What results are being clicked on when someone is doing a search? or when we're on like a category page or a navigation page. HawkSearch can track those signals. And one of the most important distinctions here is that this is also not just a straight like, oh, this was clicked 100 times.
Mhm.
Because that's not very smart. That's pretty, oh, it's just, this has been clicked a bunch, so we're going to move it to the top. What HawkSearch is really doing here is looking at, well, where within those results was this selected, so that we can then say, well, given the fact that, I got back in maybe 50 results and the 25th item was what someone selected, we're going to know that not only was that selected, but that it was the 25th item, and understand that obviously, just given users searches experiences, we've all been trained now to look at really the first row of results, the second row maybe. We're really not getting very far into the search results. We've all been trained just to like, well, if I'm not seeing it in the top, it's not there.
Thanks,
So we
Amazon.
want to exactly, right?
Yeah.
So we want to be able to leverage the fact that if someone does get a little bit further down, if they are looking at that second row, that third row, we want to track those signals and use that as an important metric to say, not only was this interacted with, but it was a little bit harder to find. And we're going to use those signals to say, well, because that was a little bit harder to find, it was a little bit lower, and we are seeing interactions with it. This is telling HawkSearch from a learning search perspective that we want to make that a little bit higher. We want to move that a little bit up within the results, make it a little easier to discover. And the great thing about this kind of approach here is that you'll notice that when we're looking at this screen, I'll go ahead and make this a little bit bigger here, that these are all sliders. So you have control over what the actual final say is here. We want to drive this automation, but we never want to take control away from what your business goals are. So maybe you're not so concerned about tracking, well, what are visitors interacting with? Maybe you've got a lot of, kind of looky-loos on your site. Well, you can just slide this over here towards that relevancy end of things, and we will continue to track those engagements, but we won't let it influence the results here. Again, best,
Yeah.
Kevin?
No, I was just going to say, and the one noticeable thing on all of these sliders is the relevancy component.
Mm-hmm.
So, even though we're multiplying or we're boosting kind of the tracking side of things, HawkSearch's primary goal is always going to be to return the most relevant items first. So it's just
Correct.
I know we have all these little bells and whistles, but I mean, HawkSearch's key functionality is relevancy. So, it's just really great that we're never losing sight of actually why customers are coming to your site, and that is to find relevant products to their search. So it's great. Yeah.
And so, of course, then the next step is if someone does interact with a product, then is, are they going to interact with it further? Are they going to add that to their shopping cart? And again, we can track this signal. We can use this to further improve those results. And the reason that these, next steps here of the add to cart and then, of course, the orders, which are more self-explanatory, the reason these are broken out into 3 separate steps is that we wanted to be able to give you the ability to control each part of that journey. How important is that? Again, through these sliders to say, maybe we're really not that concerned about what people are interacting with. Maybe we get a lot of people who, are just looking to see like what the price is in cart or what the shipping might be. So maybe that's not important, but sales, we really want to highlight sales. Each part of that journey, you have the ability to kind of control how important this is using these sliders. And again, being able to really make sure that it's meeting what your needs are. And again, setting these sliders is just the kind of forward end of it. Then in the back end, we're doing all the automation of saying, oh, well, these are the signals that we're seeing. Here's what's happening with this product, and automatically moving around the results within your search results to make sure that what these criteria are telling us about your results, what are actually people buying, what are people adding to cart, what are people clicking into, is prioritized and moved towards the top, making them much more valuable search results than just kind of, generic, hey, here's what got returned. I'll touch on this very quickly because it is the last box here, this boost for recommended items. This is the personalization that Gavin was mentioning here. These first 3 strategies here of learning search, add to cart, and orders are looking at this from like a wisdom of the crowd. What is everyone else doing with these sets of results? We, of course, have that full personalization within HawkSearch, and so we want to give you the ability to personalize these results as well, to say, well, given all of these other signals that we're looking at, what is Gavin going to be most interested in? What is Jonathan going to be most interested in? Are there certain brands or manufacturers? Is there, a price point? Is there material that they're always looking for? Color? Any of those signals that we're tracking to already drive all the personalized recommendations that HawkSearch offers, we can also apply to the search results. So not only do we get the automation from that wisdom of the crowd, we can then get to that one-to-one level of, well, what is the thing that is going to be most interested for Gavin out of these sets of results? And I'll kind of wrap this up a little bit as well, because one of the cool things about this functionality here, in addition to being able to track all of this, is that from that segmentation, from that entitlement point, we work a lot in, obviously, the B2B spaces where we can have, hey, ABC companies logged in, they only have access to a third of our catalog, or XYZ companies logged in and they can only order from our, Fort Wayne, Indiana location. There's so many limitations on the catalog. So one of the cool things we can do in the HawkSearch world is take this visitor targeting functionality, and within any one of these, there's a simple toggle for use for boost. And what this allows us to do is take all of that automation that we were just talking about there and make sure that it applies specifically to the different segments that you have built out. So ABC company logs in, they're going to still be seeing the add to cart multipliers, the orders multipliers, the learning search multipliers, but it's going to be specific for that segment because that catalog can be so different.
Yeah, and then we've obviously got the reporting to support this, and this is really starting to give you a very kind of holistic view of how people are interacting. You're also driving from a business use case. You're able to kind of drive that kind of direction that you're looking for. There's just so many kind of ways that kind of AI multipliers trickle down throughout kind of the HawkSearch experience, but how you can apply them in just kind of so many little ways throughout the platform and all together. So yeah, this has been super exciting that we've revamped all of these and made them so accurate now, and it's just great. I mean, it's been part of Hawk since day one, and to see this kind of revamped and kind of support the already awesome functionality that we have just to make it even better. It's just great. Yeah, this is so much fun to be chatting about.
And I know that we're kind of been coming to the top of the 15 minutes, little bite-sized information that we have here, but really quickly, we can touch on some other ways that we can help kind of drive those smarter results. So this is the key way that we want to tackle, because this is just straight automation. This is using your customers' information, their signals, what they're telling us about the results to make them better, make them smarter, make them more productive for you as a business. But there's other ways that we can help here by leveraging some of this AI to help drive smart results. And the one that I really want to make sure that we do focus on with the time that we have left here is that we have fully expanded our synonym functionality to take advantage of some of the AI technology that we've been building into HawkSearch over the last year. Obviously, we've had other conversations in these HawkNest webinars and other webinars about how we have the smart search functionality within HawkSearch, where we can do concept searching and image searching and visual searching and all of this kind of fun stuff. Well, one of the cool things that this allowed us to then do was take advantage of kind of the large language model that our concept search, our smart search understands, and bring that into our synonym functionality. If one of the main benefits of those large language models is how it understands all the various relationships between words, well, we can do the same thing here in a synonym model, where we can say, hey, the large language model knows what the term jacket is. And then we can ask the AI to come back and say, okay, well, what are the other terms that we know are similar to this? So again, trying to walk that line of driving the ease of use there and the automation, giving you the ability to come in and set up the relationships you want to see, but also drive this ability to say, hey, when you're creating a term for jacket, maybe I wouldn't have thought blazer. I think coat, I think parka, I think maybe windbreaker, but I wouldn't have thought of blazer.
Yeah, I like it. And the best part about maintaining synonym lists and getting creative from to create maybe some attribute data around some products that this is just one of those things that just makes life so much easier for people. And that's really our biggest goal, is because with keyword replacements and synonyms, and they do take kind of consistent management. So to be able to come in and maybe you've introduced a new product and you don't have a great load of data, and you're trying to build up some attributes and some synonyms around it, and just to plug it all in. And we even play around with this. Some of the wording they come up with is unique. And it's just great. I mean, we're really trying to simplify kind of the annoyancing parts of sometimes of maintaining a large search platform.
Yeah.
By kind of automating it using AI. So it's great.
Yeah. And there's one of the, we're coming up here on the top of the time. So, but I'll gesture towards it, at least everyone's aware of it. One of the other cool things that we have in the tool here to help drive with that, let's get you some better results, is there is a full kind of like Chat GPT prompt system where we can say, hey, I want to create some rich text. If you're unaware, we have obviously the ability to drive full merchandising banners and rich text in those spots. So I can use this WYSIWYG editor to say, hey, this is an SEO spot, or whatever I want to drop this in, is obviously here. But we can also then ask our AI here to generate prompts here. So I can use this as a prompt. Ask, hey, I need a paragraph about, flashlights or jackets or whatever, and have that content come back in. Just a really easy way to, again, help automate some of that experience where you're not having to manually create that information while still giving you the ability to manually create that if you'd like to, or even leverage the AI to, do things like proofread the content you already have existing or change the tone for it. So lots of other ways that we can help streamline that process where you can deliver relevant, right results with the right content that, really kind of take some of that burden off you guys. End of the system there.
Yeah, and it's just funny. It's one of those back end tools. It's always fun to bring them back to surface, right? Because we're always so front facing, and this stuff is it is very useful. It's very handy. Most our customers are loving it, so it's great news.
Yeah, excellent. Well, we're right here at time. I think we once
nailed
again hit it again right on the dot there.
Yeah,
Gavin, I want to say thank you again for doing this. We'll do it again. I assume in the new year here. We'll come back and pick this back up. Start with episode 10. Look
Number
forward
10,
to that in the new year.
We'll have some new announcements, and we normally do have a QR code that you can scan here, but it doesn't look like that's come through. So, if you're interested in learning a little bit more about Hawk, by all means, go through our website, submit in, reach out to me personally. You can hit me up on LinkedIn, any sort of information and further discussions. Feel free to give me a call, and we'll go from there.
hello@hawksearch.com. That's the email address to reach out to if you want to get in touch with us. So
there we go. Fantastic.
Thanks, everyone.
All right, take care. Enjoy the week, people. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.